have you been noticing that?
Speak to that listing that we talked about this week on Penn.
Next battle, I'ma better go bigger and better. If I ever lose, set it on first and never. If I ever lose, set it on bigger and better. Even though it goes again, bigger, bolder, faster.
Welcome back to the channel. Mark Turcotte here. If you want more information on the Barrie real estate market, go in the description, hit the Calendly link, and book a time with myself and we can have a chat.
Right away. So, Mark, we're going to look at some April stats today. Was April a little bit surprising for you?
It was surprising in the beginning because I've been keeping a close eye on the number of sales. So, but the halfway mark through, I pulled up, I think there was about, I don't know, mid-April anyway, but 154 sales. And I did some videos saying, you know what, I think we could smash 200 if we had more product. So there was about, 10 days or whatever remaining in the month. Long story short, it came down to 199 sales, number of sales in Barrie from the Toronto Real Estate Board. So that told me we got some inventory on, but it was really picked up quite quickly. So I wasn't surprised. Another positive month, another month where we've seen gains in the $1 million range, which we've talked many times, and to me, it's a good indication on the strength and health of that market. And what I noticed compared to March we had 15 sales $1 million and over, and in April we had 21 sales of $1 million over. That's a 29% increase. So a nice jump.
It's huge.
It's huge.
So I did on the Barrie board, we had 191 sales. So
Okay.
the Toronto board actually recorded. Now I'm not including condos.
No, me either.
Detached, 117. Townhouses, 28.
Okay.
And the townhouses, 3 of them, well, 2 of them were over 800. One was 900.
Yes.
They're new and they're big, right?
They're big.
They're the new and the big ones, yeah.
Yep.
So there was 2 in the 800s, 1 in the 900s, but most of them are in the mid to low 6s. The majority were.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing in the older areas, because I'm going to flip the coin here, because just before jumping on, there's a townhouse on Brown Bear, 39 Brown Bear, probably listed for 2 weeks, canceled the listing, listed at 724.9. I showed it, very small layout, tiny. I think you've shown it on that street too, where the condos are all backing on of everything. So no privacy, whatever. Surprise, he got $740,000 for it. Was marked.
Really?
Very surprised. Probably total of 18 days in the market. And that's a lot for a townhouse.
Oh, that is a lot. Like from what I saw.
Correct.
Yeah, comparably, it is. Yeah. So in the detached, this is where the craziness happens to me. 117, right?
Yep.
52 of them were under 800.
Okay, yes. And I saw 2 on the Trub board under the 800 out of 199 sales. Again, I didn't put just broken down by detached, just price points. We saw 112 sales. So 60% of under 800.
Yeah. But get this one, 29 in the 800s.
Detached?
Yes.
Okay.
15 in the 900s.
Okay.
29 over $1 million.
See, so you got 29, I got 21 from Treb. So that's even a bigger, again, I'm off the Treb board, but yeah, that's the category that I'm really keeping a close eye on. And I'm seeing more listings come out in that $1 million price point, $1.1 million, $1.2 million. We saw one on Taylor Drive.
But isn't it kind of funny to you that in the 900s, there's only 15? And in the millions, there's 29, there's double? It's but like in the 8 and the 9s, the 8 and the 9s are really, they're not moving great at all.
Or, and I haven't really dived into that category, or there's just not a lot of available inventory too. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So we can't really gauge that yet. But, we used to break it down, right? Like the under 7, I said, screw that. Let's just go over 8. It gives us a better gauge because we're starting to see some townhomes creep up that way. And, that's the hottest price point. And again, from 8 to 9, like you said, there's not a lot. but I haven't really seen a ton of inventory in that range. And when we do see it, is it getting snatched up pretty quick? Some is that I see in the board, others aren't. Right. So it's an interesting one, and I'm still seeing a limited inventory.
Well, another thing that I've been noticing. So I've been doing showings the last couple of weeks, and the ones that were priced really low to try to get a bidding war, they're not getting a war. And they come back up listed higher. The ones that are priced at market value, a lot of them are selling the first or second day over asking though. And they weren't withholding offers. Have you been noticing that?
I have. And I'm going to speak to that listing that we talked about this week on Pennville Trail, $799, not withholding offers, showed extremely well, right? Sent to my client right away. The perception is we're not coming up because it's going to sell over asking. So I ended up texting the agent 2 days to see if it was still available. They accepted an offer. So it was on the board 36 hours, and it did get scooped up pretty quick. But, I think buyers today just shouldn't take that approach, because the last, say, 2 months holding off offers, low inventory. Oh, it's all going to go over list. Forget about it. And then now we're seeing a revert where we're just pricing it at market value. And then if it shows well, it's busy. It's getting a lot of attention right away.
And it's gone right away. I showed one yesterday. I showed one in Everett yesterday, and it got listed at maybe, I don't know what time. It was in the morning, and we were there by 1:00 or 1:30, and I've already got notifications it's got 2 offers on it. So you see they're priced at market value. They go over asking, but they're not going huge over.
No. And they're going over, and people kind of can't think of it as that if yes, it's going over, but people think, oh, it's going way over market value. I really think nothing in this market right now is selling over market value. It's not. It's at market value. We're not seeing crazy COVID pricing here. We're not. And I don't think we're not this year. Let's face it. But the perception is that buyer is, I'm going to pay over market value. Not really. They priced it at $599. It should be selling for, $7. And there's one on the board today. South Park Street, $599. New end unit townhome. Beautiful upgrades. $599, holding off offers till Monday. That's a $750. Maybe a bit more.
Well, you know what I've been seeing with some of them? So we're going to price it at $599, and we're going to withhold offers, and they only get $650.
Yeah.
Like they get 5 or 6 offers, but none of them are really, really high, because I think the perception right now is everything is kind of at market value. So you have like 99% of the inventory, people are pricing at market value. So then a buyer sees one come up at $599 and they think it's the same as all the rest. Oh, that's market value. So we'll give them $610. And they're not really cluing into this is way, way below. Because most of them that when you're showing a client and yourself, you're showing, 3 or 4 properties and they're all around the same price because that's their price range, right?
Yeah.
And then they see one come up really lower. They feel like, oh, so they're actually expecting $599 because nobody else is withholding and nobody else has low prices.
And there's a few strategies going on. And I think for the rest of the year, we're not, yes, I think we're going to be in a low inventory climate. I do, but I don't think prices are going to go hairy-carry. I don't. But I think with the agents showing these properties from GTA markets, again, to your point about that buyer going $599, great, I'll give you $610, should be honestly pulling up the computer and going, hey, Mrs. and Mr. Buyer, this isn't selling for $599. It's going to probably get $740. Here's why. A, B, and C. This is what they got. So I find in this market that agents are not educating their buyers enough, because the low ball offers of, wait, great, I'll give them $610. And then you get an offer $610. You go, what? What the hell is this?
Well, I'm almost wondering if it would have been better to price it at $749.
I do.
24-hour irrevocable,
Yep.
you're going to actually get people that have that budget,
Yep.
that want it, and they're there right away, and you might end up over.
Correct. So to your point, it's attracting that $599 is attracting a different type of buyer in a sense of what the affordability they can afford. Great. I've been approved for $625. Let's go look at this because that's, it's in my wheelhouse. And we've seen that. We've seen that a lot so far in the spring market, where you're getting all kinds of attention, and then come offer day, you go, holy shit, look at that price. That's garbage. That's garbage. Oh, this one isn't bad. Let's just see if I can work with that one. So that's telling me that you're not attracting the right buyer when you're doing that in this market.
No. Well, yeah, because
COVID days, you tracked everybody because everyone knew, it's going to go 200 grand over. They were prepared for it.
You know what was funny? In COVID days, I sent my clients listings 100,000 under their budget. Right? Because there was no point in sending them something at $799 if their budget was 800, because it was selling for 950 or $1 million. So I would send them stuff like 100 grand under their budget, because I already knew there's going to be a bidding war, and but now that's the difference, right? Now, because everything's at market value, we're sending them what their budget is.
Yes. Yep. And that's the buyer today that we're seeing that consistent. And we've seen the shift, right? We've seen the shift where we're not seeing a lot of holding off offers, because I think the agents saw, similar that we're seeing too. We're attracting the wrong buyer. That's a wrong strategy, because then you're going to get everyone going there and you're going to get crap offers. So sellers out there today should take the strategy of pricing it at market value, hold off for 24, 48 hours. Boom. Better strategy. Then because that buyer that's going to qualify for 650 is not going to the 799 house or the 750 or 700 house. They're not going because it's out of their chain. So that you're narrowing, you're singling in on the right buyer. When we're discounting it like that, we're trying to get the lowest buyer. I don't know. I don't think it's as strong as it was back in January, February, March.
Well, no, because now when people get into the bidding wars and they see that you're withholding offers, they're not expecting to pay 100,000 over, and most of them can't afford it anyway.
No.
So even though you've priced it really low, from what I'm seeing, the offers aren't high enough, and people are canceling and relisting. So to me, right now, doing market value and withholding, asking for 24 or 48 hour irrevocable, it seems it's work, like you're getting more money that way.
I think, because I also think that you're singling, you're going after the right buyer. When we're lower, we're not going after the right buyer. We're getting those people, great, I'm approved for this amount, but I can't go over this amount. Huh? Well, that ain't going to work. And if you get agents doing no homework before when they show property, hey, then you get stupid. Then you have two people, two swords in there. Like, doesn't anybody see the valuation of this house? Well, you priced it so low that maybe you killed it yourself.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I was talking to an agent from York Region the other day, and he was saying that, I think the prices are still going to keep coming down. My buyers are all sitting on the fence still because they think prices are coming down. So like everybody, even agents, have different opinions on what's happening. Like they think that the bottom's still falling out, so they don't want to buy yet.
Then to me, that agent isn't in tune with the market. I'm sorry. If you're not looking at the board 3 to 4 times a day, from the pending to the listed to the solds, you're not going to have a grasp on the market. So that's telling me that agent doesn't have a grasp on the market. There's no way we're not seeing that. We're seeing that was last year. We've seen that around this time. It's a whole different year this year than it was last year. We're seeing tick, 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 and tick.
Well, and I told him, I said, listen, real estate doesn't just base the whole market on the interest rates. I mean, it's supply and demand.
Absolutely.
If there's not a lot of supply coming. And he said, well, the spring market, I'm waiting for a bunch to come out. I said, buddy, the spring market was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Like, where are they?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They're not coming out.
We're in it. And
yeah.
we will see some more as we progress through some better weather, right? I'm sure there's still lots of sellers out there that, want to get the front lawn looking good, want to get some raking done, do some cleaning up. We'll see some more inventory. But I think the inventory that we see coming on will be snatched up extremely, extremely quickly. Looking at the showings on certain properties, and we can go back to one that we both showed on Succession, a townhouse listed for $735, not holding off on offers at all, and unit, all brick, great area. To me, that was out of the money, and I was a revolving door, and you got into the sign back and full list, and your clients are screwing around in a sense. Boom, the next day you get $750.
Well, 10 minutes after we put our sign back in.
Yeah.
We got $750. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. If you would have put in the $735 like they were asking for, you would have secured that deal.
I know.
100%. Right?
Well,
and
buyers
need to understand that.
And that leads us
around.
Oh, I know. And that leads us into the other discussion of people just not listening to you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Some people need to trust their agents. And I guess they could have been burnt. I know past clients, that we've had for years, great, but new ones are tough, right? Because they don't know you're building that trust factor. You're giving them information. You're being transparent. This is what's going to happen. This is what's not going to happen. This is what should, and they goes in one ear and out the other. And then the time game comes by and go, yeah, you're right, Mark. We should have listened and we should have done that. Yeah, I told you so. But I think that takes some time to foster. But I'm telling you, buyers out there right now should be extremely, especially on good properties that are well presented and showing well and priced, good for the market. If your agent isn't directing you in the right way, then get rid of them. Bottom line, if they're directing you in a bad way and said, "Oh, I just give them, 50,000 under because it's the market's dropping," get rid of that person because they have no friggin' idea what's going on in the market. Then that's a scary thing.
My other problem is the social media and everybody's opinion. Like, everybody has an opinion now, and everybody knows everything. So, as an agent, you're telling them, "Listen, this is a very good deal for this property in this neighborhood right now. It's like a steal. So you got to be fast, go in firm." And everything was updated in that house. The furnace, the roof, the plumbing, everything was brand new. So, go, and when you do a home inspection or when you do a viewing, go check out everything so you can go firm, right? Yeah. And they still, because they're listening to you, well, is the market going to go up? And, if he's got it priced at $735, then why is it so low? Like, is there a problem with it? Because, you know what I mean? Like, now, because it is a value, or I'm telling them this is a very good value for this neighborhood, now they're nervous because why is it low? Like, you can't win. You know what I mean?
And I thought it was low before showing that property. Once I got the presentation was done extremely well, the right upgrades. More I looked at that, it is a $735 sell because I found the bedroom small, but that was it for the right buyer in there. What a great property. And that's what I would have been willing to pay for it if I was a buyer. But then the next buyer comes along going, "We want this." And now you're competing with your offer now. They stepped up and they paid $750. They didn't overpay.
No.
For that house. They overpaid by I shouldn't say overpay. They spent $15,000 for an insurance policy, would I say, to secure the property. That's not over. They didn't pay $150,000 over market value.
No.
They got the property. Perfect. And I think it's a $750, to the right buyer. Yeah, it was. I think they got a nice property and a great location there. Nice.
Well, yeah. And being an end unit with a wraparound porch in that neighborhood, like, the thing is, they don't even come up a lot.
They don't.
So to even try to get one, to pay the extra $15,000, but what, if he would have priced it at $749, he still would have got it.
Maybe, or sitting for a couple days. Because my buyers, him and I think he would have got it, but it would have took a couple of days where this transaction took less than 24 hours.
I think right now it's very, very difficult to price properties. And it's funny because I've had quite a few agents calling me and asking me, oh, Diane, I saw you had a listing on this street and I'm about to list one and I don't even know what price. And I feel like an idiot. I've had two of them tell me that, where prices are so kind of all over the place that to go in and tell
strategies. There's a lot of strategies out there and they are all over the place for someone to, to understand the sales and what's going on. Yeah.
And to go in and the one agent said to me, I'm supposed to be the professional. And I walk in there and I'm like, well, I don't really know what you're going to get. Because you see some that sell and you think, oh, that's a ridiculously high price. And then you see some that sell and you think, oh, that's a ridiculously low price.
Let's face it, it's very stressful for a seller to go through all the motions of selling a house, prepping a house, leaving for showings, coming back, people not showing up for the showing and they got the baby in the car and it's 8:00 and it's raining. There's a lot going on in their lives. And I think some people just say, screw it, we're going to price it so it moves, so we get limited amount of showings, so our lives aren't disturbed. And maybe that was one in succession where they priced it extremely well and they fared out well.
Well, the agent told me when I was putting in my offer that his client, so the seller and the agent, went around and looked at the last 5 or 6 sales in the neighborhood. And some of them, the actives, they actually booked them and went into the houses to see them. And that's how they arrived at 735.
Right. And I know that some of the properties they've probably viewed, and some of them there was a few listed over there, and they didn't really show good. They couldn't compete with this property. Maybe a little bit bigger, but the upgrades, the presentation, the cleanliness, not a chance. So here's some good advice for a seller that's going to list their property for sale. What would you tell them today? If you were going to a listing appointment, what would you tell a seller to do today?
Well, you mean on the state of the home, the condition? It has to show well. It has to show well. It has to be clean and, as much as they can afford updates, they don't have to redo the whole kitchen because, the problem is, if you're selling in general, you don't have the money to redo a whole kitchen. But you need everything very clean and definitely not full of crap, if you know what I mean. It has to look spacious and big and not have a bunch of, the less furniture, the better, honestly.
Yeah, you want it to show. You want it to show well. You want it to be well presented. You want that home to be decluttered, free space to walk around and see the potential for that new buyer to walk in, right? And we continually go into homes today, and some we see it, and we always talk about the ones that we see it. We always remember the ones that showed extremely well. We always do, and shows extremely well. But then we go to others and we go, there's no effort put in. And what do we see? What do we see continuously sitting on the market? Are those properties, if you put no effort in today, because the market's still good, but buyers aren't going to settle for average, right? Lest the price is too good to be true, but there's a lot of people out there that want to just turn the key and walk in and go, I'm home, honey. They don't want to be doing all kinds of work.
I've had buyers that the paint color is like a deal breaker. I have some that, some of them, I'll go in and we'll look at the whole house and the bones are good and the sides are good and it's yellow and red and, well, that's okay. I can paint, right? Then the next buyer you get, they walk in and that, the house is bigger and better than all the other ones we saw, but the paint colors, right away they're like, oh no, I don't like this. Like they can't see past that. And there's people like that they can't see past.
There's tons, right? There's tons of people that can't see past that. And I don't know.
Even clutter. I can go in a house and look and kind of view it in a manner of, okay, that there's nothing in there. Like, how would my couch fit? How would this fit? How would that fit? Mm-hmm. I can overlook all the clutter, right? But there's people that can't. I have one client that if the house is vacant, she's a mess. Well, right. Diane, I need a house that has furniture because I can't picture what it's going to look like with a couch and a table. Like she hates if it's vacant. And
they don't show well. They don't show well, right? It's nice to see placements of furniture and some staging involved, and just it enhances the presentation.
Well, I've had the opposite though, Mark, where I had a couple, and especially one condo that I could not sell with the furniture in it. It just made it look smaller. So and we were listed for like almost 3 months. And I said to my client, listen, you've already moved out. Let's get rid of all the furniture. We actually got rid of everything, painted it. I actually helped her paint, sold the first person in.
Yeah, right. But was it the painting that kind of got people there?
I don't know. The color before was just like a beigey and a little bit old, and we painted it gray.
Right.
But I think it was the furniture because her furniture was really big and chunky, and we had staged, like we had got rid of a bunch of stuff, and but it was a very small condo. So if you have very big couch, like a very big couch or very big furniture, right away you walk in. And I always tell my sellers this: if you walk into a house and you feel like the people that are living there are cramped and have no room, you feel right away, my stuff isn't going to fit in here. Their stuff doesn't fit in here.
100%.
Like,
get rid of that big chunky furniture because it's going to be a deal breaker. It's not a good use of space. Meanwhile, the room is an okay size, but with all that furniture, you can't see it. And then you're going to keep getting missed. And next thing you know, a couple showings. Then it's 2 weeks goes by and there's 30 showings. And there's 40 showings in week 3 in this market. And you think that you're kind of priced for the market in a sense that you think, but maybe it's the presentation that's lacking. It's the furniture, or maybe not enough presentation, or maybe the buyers are seeing something different than how we price the property. Well, it's going to need some work on the floors. It's going to need some carpet changes. It's going to need some more updating. I think if a property hasn't turned, if you price a property today for the market and it hasn't turned in 10 days, then it's a price issue. And a seller should react more quicker than we haven't found the right one yet. No, you're not going to, because they're seeing that there's money to be in the house.
No, and I think I think that's a big problem right now. I'm with you. If you don't sell it right in the first 10 days or so, right now, anything that's priced well and shows well, it's gone away.
Yep.
So if you are not gone within 10 days, it's a price issue for sure.
100% it is. It's a price issue all the way. And you have to adjust it. Again, I don't think this is a market for a seller to be patient in. It's not.
Well, no, because the longer you sit there, the less you're getting.
100%. Your listing is going to become stale. And then what happens if the right other product comes on, and it's sold in the neighborhood, got missed again, shows a little bit better, maybe a higher price, or maybe it's a price lower, but presentation's there, bit of not so much work.
What I find too, Mark, it's like the house might not even be as nice as yours, but it's got the garage, or
100%.
or it. There was a couple when I had my listing in South Barrie where they sold. My clients were like, "Well, Diane, they've already sold." Well, yeah, they had a 250-foot backyard.
Yeah,
the house wasn't as nice, but the yard was 250 feet. So, somebody was buying it because it had something we didn't have.
100% that they're not used to seeing, Where do we find a backyard like that? So if a property has something like that feature, yeah, that's a plus for someone.
And even, and you know what, if I want the pool and I want the gazebo, or I want to put a garden suite in the backyard,
it's there.
And they're hard to find, those kind of yards, right? So I got to update the house a bit.
Yep.
You know, but I'm getting the yard I want, which is difficult to find.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
So there's detriments to each house, and there are advantages to houses, you know? And in COVID, it didn't matter if your backyard was a hill or your driveway was a hill, or, you know, your basement, you know, was crappy with low ceilings or something. Like in COVID, like it didn't really matter. Everything sold. Now, and I think we're all feeling it. If your property has any kind of detriment, it's a tough sell.
100%. You have to reflect that detriment into the price. And that still might not be enough. And again, I still think that the agent should do some due diligence and go, okay, you know what? Let's compare apples to apples. We can't find it because yours has no backyard, your house doesn't have this, but this one does. You have to adjust that price point to make it attractive for someone. You got a great square footage floor plan, but we're missing this, we're missing that. This is what the price could have been if we had those. And I think you have to look closely at that stuff. Right
now, you do. Well, think about it. Think about it from the buyer standpoint. So I'm a buyer and I have $1 million budget. I can buy this house that has everything I want, or I can buy this house that is missing like a great backyard. If I can buy it for $1 million and it already has everything I want, why the hell am I going to buy the one that doesn't have it?
You're not.
The only way I'm going to buy it is if I get a good enough deal.
100%. Someone will. Or saying, hey, you know, we don't really care for the backyard. We're more on the floor plan or the square footage because we have a large family and grandma and grandpa are going to move in. Okay. Then that shifted where their budget could be $1 million, but the one they're looking at, the one that they may want is 1.2 and it's out of their range. Then they're going to go for the $1 million one. And they're going to suck up that detriment in a sense, but they got a price point is sharper for that buyer.
Exactly.
You know, that's it. It's a tricky market to still navigate, even though we say it's busy and busy in a sense, not running crazy busy, but busy activity over last year. It's still not that easy to navigate, right? You got to navigate a buyer in the right way. If you're transparent, you're giving the information. Here's the price point I see it going. Here's why. You've educated them. You've passed on that knowledge. Great. Selling side the same way. I see your price range in here. Here's why. You know, not just going, oh, I'm going to get you $700,000 for it no matter what. Run from that agent, because if they can't back it up, unless they can back it up, stay with them. If they can't back it up and be transparent, then they're just telling you what you want to hear, and then they're going to beat you down for a price change in the first 7 days. Oh, we're 30 or 40 grand overpriced. Yeah, but you told me to go there. Oh, right. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky market still in a way.
Well, it's funny too, because I have a couple agents, and I have one that I work with who's younger, and she'll ask me for advice and stuff. And I said to her, listen, right now, don't go in there and promise anything, because she's looking at the comparables, and some are in the flipping 6s, some are in the 8s, and they're not that different, and they're the same area. And I said, that's a killer. If you go in there and say, oh, I'm going to get you 800, you can't guarantee anything right now, because it's too all over the place.
It is. I give a range. When I'm going into a listing appointment, I give a range. Low range and a high range. And hopefully we can go to the high range, but if we're not, we still need to work in the range that we're given, right?
And at the end of the day, Mark, and this is what I've been trying to tell some of my sellers, your house is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. Now, if I only have 1 or 2 showings, that's not reflective. But if I have 30 or 40 and we aren't getting our price,
absolutely,
we're in trouble.
Yeah, you have to adjust, right? And that's it. I mean, it's I'm happy with the market progress for the month of April, the consistency in the market last couple of months. I still think if inventory remains low, prices will go up. We're, middle of the spring market, we'll say. Another, as soon as June comes along, people are thinking holiday season. Thinking, okay, kids are
July and August are the slowest months of the year.
Right. And,
and we're in May.
We're in May. It's going fast, right? I find as soon as June comes in, people they're not thinking about real estate so much. Thinking kids are got 3 more weeks. I got to organize the camps. I got to organize a trip. Everything the thought of real estate's just taking a back seat, right?
Oh, so for sure.
People now, that are listing in let's just say in the month of May, you got till the end of June in a sense, and that's pushing end of June. Middle of June would be good, ideal. You don't want to go into, a July and August and you've been listed since May. No way.
No, you're in trouble. I know. And, years ago when I was on a team, when I first started out, the leader of the team used to take off nearly the whole month of July and the 100%. Beginning of August because they weren't doing anything. And that's traditionally been like that for years and years, right? So, right now you're in May. When you list, you better make sure you price it right. Because like you said, if you're going to be sitting there at that time, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you want to be gone by June. You want to be gone by, say you want to be, again, we've talked about it, but, if it's not the sharp price point, make sure you sharpen your pencil because it has to be gone by the end of June. Or you're going to sit with that product over July and August with, limited showings, especially if you sit the price. And we got to remember that the mass of buyers are out shopping now.
Yes.
July and August, that shrinks. Still buyers looking and doing showings and activity, but it's not hot with them. They've cooled down. Other plans. We're going away. We're going to the cottage. We'll resume this in September.
Yep. Well, and people that want to get in before the school change, like for school change, they're doing it now because you're like in July, August, it's too late almost, right? So
it's too late. Yep.
Yeah. So you're doing that now. Yep. And I don't know. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple weeks because I think, May, if we don't see any influx, we're not going to see any, I don't think. Do you agree?
I don't. If we don't see any inventory coming on the more inventory coming on the market in May, it's not coming in June. Because I don't think June's the best time to list. Right? No. Because, again, the kids are done. Buyers are out looking now, securing properties to move in the summer, give the kids a couple weeks to get settled into the neighborhood, meet some friends, and then, going to the school down the road. Like you said, they're not, some are shopping July and hoping for September, but, let's face it, if someone's selling today too, they got to buy something most times, or, I still don't think people are going out buying first and then selling later, depending on their situations, of course. But, for the average, I think they're saying, hey, let's kind of maybe, let's not go secure a buy and then wait till we sell. Because I don't know, I think that's...
Well, what I've seen too, there's more SPPs, conditional, and SPP is conditional on a seller's property. I'm seeing more of that than I have in the past.
But will that work on a nice, well-presented home, 3-bedroom, decent, I don't know, price it to say $800,000?
Not right now.
Not right now. It might work on a 1.5. It's not going to work 8 and under, even 9 and under. Forget it.
Unless it's been sitting there.
Yeah, unless. And then
I've seen some underneath. Yeah, I've seen some in the lower range.
Yeah.
Where they accepted it, but it had been sitting for like a month already. Right. And in this market, if you're sitting for a month already and you got nothing, you better take something.
100%. You better adjust. You better react to the market. Market's spoken. Ain't gonna get your price. And that seller that has that SPP shouldn't think, oh, it's okay. We got an offer. We're gonna sell. That means nothing.
I
Right?
know.
They have to sell. What's the backup? What type of property? And if it's a higher price point property, depending on, it could take time. So just don't put all your eggs in that and all the faith into that, that backup property.
No, I only take those if the backup property is good. Like
100%.
I would tell my client, no, forget it, because nobody shows your house once it's conditionally sold. It's off the market, basically. So, I mean, if it's a townhouse and they're going to price it decently and it,
Right.
in a decent area, or depending what it is, if it's a good backup property, then, a lot of times it does make sense.
100%. 100%.
If it's a terrible one,
don't take it.
nope.
Why bother? Adjust to the market, you'll sell it. If you don't adjust to the market, you're not going to sell it. That's it.
Exactly.
And, we go back to COVID times and we talked about it many times and everything was selling, but we're so different still, right? This is a new process for everybody. Buyers, sellers, agents, right? We got pretty comfortable. You stick the sign in the front lawn and, oh yeah, I'll get you 10 offers guaranteed. Probably get 15 to 20 and gone. Our jobs are pretty easy. Now, whoa, jobs are different now.
Mark, every week is different. Like all of a sudden in April, I'm noticing all these coming up at market value and they're selling over with no offer dates within a day or two. That wasn't happening 3 weeks ago, but it's happening now.
It's happening now. Yeah, it is. Especially for the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's happening pretty quickly, right? Like a lot of attention, Again, we all know buyers always gravitate to of course, their affordability range. But if there's something in the affordability range shows up and it's really nice, they're ganging up on that property.
Yep. They're waiting. They're watching. We're all watching and waiting for the new listings every day.
100%. And there's so many people that are living on the Realtor.ca apps. Some of our clients probably know what's going on listings than some agents do today.
Oh, I just had one text me and say, well, this property, you said it had an offer date on Monday and there's no sold sign on it yet. And I said, well, it could be conditionally sold. Well, no, House Sigma would tell me if it's conditionally sold.
Yeah, they're updated a lot.
Yeah, they're on it.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I think we should wrap that up.
Yeah.
We covered up good numbers for April. I think we gave the audience a good indication of what's going on in the marketplace, what to do, what not to do, how to react, how to present. I think this trend will continue for the rest of the year, right?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens in our May update, right?
No, absolutely.
How things have changed.
If we see some inventory, we should crack that barrier of over 225 if we see inventory, but I don't know.
One other thing before we go. You know how many actives there are? Full and Barrie, every kind of listing?
Condos included?
Yep.
Oh, I know there's detached and towns and freehold over 5, but I don't know about condos in that mix.
272 active listings in the city.
Really? Why did I see 500 in some on Treb?
I don't know. I just did it this morning. No, I just did it before we got on here.
Oh, I might have had some other areas. Really? That's not a lot of product.
272.
Wow. Well, so that's a 30-day supply on average. Call it 33 days worth of supply.
Yeah.
That ain't much.
It's not much, Mark.
No. So, and there it goes, right? Where we're seeing properties, the buyers know it.
The buyers know coming up, they're going, right?
They're going. And they're not being replenished.
Nope. I just thought I'd end on that note.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. Well, sellers is a good time to list. Just be patient and get things ready.
Well, and make sure you price it right.
That's the key. The pricing is so key. And the sellers shouldn't go into selling their home today thinking, well, I feel I should get $1 million. Huh? I was thinking 850. Right?
Yeah.
So
my neighbor got $1 million 6 months ago. And my house is better than theirs.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Then we pull it up and go, no, I know why they got $1 million, because It had everything.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy your day.